Hey everyone, this is Chase at Rocky Mountain ATV giving you a closer look at the F2 Carbon with MIPS from Fly Racing. Alright, so today we're giving you a closer look at the all-new F2 Carbon with MIPS coming from Fly Racing. Now you might be asking yourself the question, why is it all new? Because it looks almost the exact same as the previous F2 Carbon. But in 2018, Fly, they did revamp this helmet, and there's a lot of big changes that we're going to talk about today. And some of the big changes right off the bat is, one, they have changed the angle and reshaped the chin bar just a little bit to make it sit a few millimeters farther away from the rider's face. They've also lightened this helmet up about a quarter pound. I'll explain how they did that later on. And also, they have now dropped the price on this helmet about $100. So for me, I think it's really cool that for around $300 price point, you can get a helmet that top level pros are wearing. Riders like Blake Baggett, Benny Bloss, Weston Pike have all been wearing the F2 Carbon with MIPS. So it just goes to show you that at that price point, you can still get a very high quality helmet. Now, before we dive in and we talk about too many of the features, quickly, let's just talk about fitment. I have worn and ridden in this helmet personally. It's a very comfortable helmet. I love the MIPS Liner on the inside. Fitment is true to size, but make sure always use a sizing guide on the product pages to know what size you measure for. But remember, this isn't a apparel item. We ship for free over $75. We have our fit guarantee, which means if you buy this helmet or any helmet that we sell at Rocky Mountain, if you're not happy with the sizing or fitment, we want to make sure that you are. Send it back to us in brand new unused condition, and we give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange, just to make sure you get the size and the fit that you're looking for. So with it, like I said, very similar look to the previous F2 Carbon, so not a whole lot of changes there. Like I said, really cosmetically, the big change you're going to see is at the chin bar here. They elongated it just a little bit, so it's going to be about a few millimeters farther away from the rider's face. Some riders talked about how they felt the chin bar sat a little bit too close, so they moved that out just a touch. As far as the construction of the shell, you're still using their carbon matrix shell, so you're getting carbon fiber Kevlar mix. Makes the shell lightweight, very strong. We flip it around here, we look at the back, you're going to be DOT and ECE certified. That's another big change I want to mention. So the previous F2 Carbon with MIPS was a Snell certified helmet. So Fly, they did this strategically. They went away from the Snell certification, so they're now DOT and ECE. And I'll explain why they did that change here in just a little bit. But if we go through and we look at the front here, venting on this helmet was critical when Fly was designing this. They want to make sure you get a lot of airflow through, so they call it their true ventilation system. So you can see here along the chin bar, lots of vents, a lot of intake air there. And then underneath, or excuse me, just above the eye port, you have multiple vents to help push air down. That's going to help combat fogging. And then underneath the visor, that's that true ventilation that I was talking about. They have these big vents you can see up here on the top of the helmet. So the air is channeled through the visor, and then it goes through those massive vents that you have up here on the top, channels that air through the helmet, through the liner system, and then you can see you've got those exhaust ports in the rear to help get that hot air out of the helmet. And like I said, I've ridden in it. It was a really hot day when I was riding in this, and venting, I think it does a really good job. So that's the outside of the helmet. And oh, by the way, the visor on this is going to be adjustable. But now, let's take a look at the inside here. So with this, you're going to have a double D-ring closure. Again, same as we saw with the previous version. Like I said, Coolmax inner liner. So very, very comfortable. I think it's one of the more comfortable helmets that is out there. That's just my opinion. Some riders might think different, but I love the Coolmax liner. So I'll pop these out. Now you're going to get your comfort liner. Again, this is removable. You can wash it, throw it in the washing machine if it gets hot and sweaty. Not a big deal. Take it out, put it back in. You're going to be good to go. So like I mentioned earlier, F2 Carbon with MIPS. So MIPS is a feature that we see in a lot of helmets now. It's a high-end feature that riders really like. It stands for Multi-Directional Impact Protection System, and what it is, it's this yellow liner here that you see that is sitting against the EPS liner. And the purpose of the MIPS liner system, over the years, we've seen a big emphasis on angular impacts and that rotational energy, and companies are really trying to figure out how to mitigate those, because remember, not all crashes are straight up and down. You're either moving forward or back or side to side. So by having that MIPS liner in there, what it does, it creates a slip zone. So in the event of those crashes, it helps the rider's head slip just a little bit inside the helmet, and it helps mitigate and just disperse those rotational forces just a little bit better. And like I said, this is a feature that we're seeing in a lot of helmets that riders are looking for. And then underneath that, you have a multi-density EPS liner. Now here's where I talked about how they save some of that weight going to the new version. A size large in this helmet comes in at 2.9 pounds. That is extremely lightweight for a size large in any helmet. I don't care what helmet you have. And it might not sound like a lot. You know, they lighten it up about a quarter pound. I know a quarter pound doesn't seem like too much, but trust me, That quarter pound makes a difference. When it comes to riding, I can feel the difference in having those weight savings, so I'm really glad that they're able to shave some weight off of this helmet. And the way they did that, because the shell construction is the exact same as the previous model, but now what they've done is they're using an EPS liner, stands for expanded polystyrene, on the inside that's not as dense as the previous version. So like I mentioned, the previous model was Snell certified, and if you're not familiar with Snell, it's a private organization that does helmet safety ratings, and for their tests that they do, they're known to be a little bit more rigorous, and to pass the Snell certification, you know, helmet companies need to use an EPS liner that's going to be a little bit more dense, and having that extra density adds weight to the helmet. So Fly said, you know what we want to do is we want to use a less dense EPS liner. That way it can help absorb those impacts at those lower speeds a little bit better than what we think that denser EPS liner can do. So they went with a less dense EPS liner just to help absorb those impacts at those lower speeds. And because they did that, again, they're no longer Snell certified, but it's still going to pass the DOT and ECE standards. So again, using the same shell construction, the way they're able to save that weight is with that new EPS density. And that is it. That is the F2 Carbon with MIPS coming from Fly Racing. Again, new in 2018. If you guys have any questions or comments about this helmet, leave those below. We will help get those answered. If you have one of these, I would love to hear your comments on it, so make sure leave those below. To pick up your next helmet, it is very simple. Click on the link at the end of this video. Remember guys, like I said, orders over $75 ship free. If you like this product spotlight, well, do not hesitate. Get subscribed to our YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up. That way you stay up to date on the latest product spotlights, how-to videos, and the buyer's guides that we are constantly filming. I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain, and we'll see you on the trails.